In my introduction, I want to emphasize what I know about Bob and not just read a list of his achievements, which you can see in the program in any case. My background and what I do is finance, and they say that the 3 C's that are important about finance is credit, collateral, and character. And character is the most important lending criteria, which some of our friends who are on the top list forgot about. And Bob and I have done several $100 million both on the East and West Coast. And it's basically Bob's character that has been the reason for our success. Bob is a man of his word. You don't need 70 lawyers when you do a business deal with Bob to translate what he's saying. He delivers, and his dedication to public service. Just a couple of things. The Undersecretary of Transportation and Business and Housing, Mr. Caltran folks all probably stood at attention, and is currently the chairman of the Transportation Committee under the President Governor, hold numerous planning and housing posts in the Inland Empire, his service in Vietnam. But even more importantly to me is his commitment and dedication to his wife, his children, and his grandchildren. And these are the characteristics, public service, his commitments, and his character that led to his success. And it's really a great pleasure to introduce my business associate and friend here.
And I kept asking Hilda Kennedy, what do you want me to speak on? And she says, well, you know, the usual stuff. I said, no, really, give me something concrete. She says, well, you know, something, the usual stuff. You have faith? Anybody who's been in business got to have faith in something. And so we finally, after much questioning on my part, she asked me to see if I could try to make a connection between faith and doing business. And I think I might be able to take a shot at that. And I didn't come with prepared notes because, frankly, I didn't know what I was going to say until just a few minutes ago. But I want to share with you some aspects of my own personal life that perhaps instilled in me some of the qualities that I think have served me well in my life, not just in business, but in my personal life. I've been married to the most wonderful woman in the world for almost 40 years. Amen. We have never had an argument. That's a true story. We discuss every single thing, and then I do it her way. And when we go shopping, I simply go, honey, do I like this? And if she says yes, I buy it. And if she says no, I don't. And that is the basis of just a wonderful marriage. No, but truly, there are things you learn through life. And I want to take just 1 second here. How many people here are fathers? Okay. I want to tell you that your job is one of the most important jobs on the face of the planet. Because a lot of the troubles, problems, and challenges we face today are because the fathers in this country haven't stepped up and to the task that is their responsibility. And I want to commend everyone who is doing so right now and ask you to help those that perhaps need a little help to fulfill their obligations. Turn this off or I'll hit it automatically and be scooting across the floor and everybody will be wondering what's going on. But let me start with a couple of things that, I'm going to tell you a story that I've never told, ever, to my family or to anyone. And it's a story of how I learned a certain part of who I am. On September 3rd, 1968, I was in a very terrible situation and a terrible fight in Vietnam, in the jungles. And when the smoke had cleared, so to speak, and we had done fairly well, after I thought it was all over, a Chinese communist grenade was lobbed into a group of my guys and took down 5 right away. And they were on the other side of a rice paddy from where I was. And the enemy was between me and the other. And I really didn't care. When you're 18 years old, you're bulletproof. I mean, you're absolutely bulletproof. You don't know. So I threw away my steel pot, my helmet. If anybody who's served in that period, that was the absolute worst piece of equipment the military could give you. If you try to run with it, it would absolutely break your nose as it came down, and you couldn't see anything. So I had a colonel who said that the deficit was partly caused by the number of steel pots I threw away, running 2 people. But I got over there, and it was a small enclave inside the rice paddy, and the water was about 8 inches thick, deep, and the water was blood red. And we had 5 people down, and we worked as hard as we could. And out of the 5, there was one guy whose name I remember every day, and Mr. Kirkendall, who didn't make it that day, but we saw it. And for many, many years, I was in a condition of contrition that I didn't save that one guy, that we saved 4, and I got them out. Lord knows how they made it through. But I was in a condition of contrition that I couldn't save the 5th. And it would have been impossible, given the wounds that he had received. That didn't matter to me. And then it finally dawned on me, after I received a letter from one of the survivors from the hospital, thanking me for the work that had been done to save him and his men. It was a lieutenant who lost his face. That I turned myself around from a condition of contrition to an attitude of appreciation and acceptance and gratitude. So from a condition of contrition to an attitude of gratitude was something I could do, because there were 4 people who lived their life, and I needed to be grateful for that. And I couldn't expect 100% of everything I did. And as we go through life, we need to all, I think, put ourselves in an attitude of gratitude, because we can't make everything perfect, but we need to be so thankful for those things that we have. And when it's bad at business and it's bad at work, and you come home and you realize your family loves you, and you've got food on the table, a roof over your head, and you've got a family unit, and you have values, then remember an attitude of gratitude and not an attitude of complaining about that which might have been or should have been that day in your mind. You see, we all think about things that should be done, and we all act about things that should be done. But until we actually realize how much we've all been given and how much we've all actually been blessed with, can we actually realize that we've been given many of the tools necessary to be successful, not only in life, but in business itself. Now, in that same particular war, I'm not here to tell war stories. I went out one night to get a guy, I won't give you the whole story, who was on an ambush, and nobody would go get him. I decided to go get him. He had got his leg messed up. I went out and got him, and we came back. And in those days, I used to carry a Bible in my helmet, not for me to read, but because when you're working on someone whose guts are exposed or who's got his arm blown off, sometimes there's so much comfort you could give by just handing a Bible to them to hold on to. There are no atheists in foxholes, let me assure you. Just like people who tell me there's no prayer in school, they never took a final. But I went and got him, and when I came back, I had found that a bullet had pierced my helmet and had taken out my Bible. And somewhere between where I had picked him up and when we got back, my Bible was somewhere in the jungle. And the chaplain says, "You're truly blessed that that bullet, or that Bible had stopped that bullet, or you'd been dead." I said, "I understand it, that God blesses me. I just wish he would pick less graphic ways to announce it." And the point I'm trying to make is, until we are hit with something very hard, and until something just smacks us down, sometimes it's very hard to remember how blessed we truly are. Because we go through life and things are good, and we're doing it all ourselves, and everything is because we're smart, we're great, and we're going to do the business. But if you remember you're there because you're blessed, it's a completely different perspective, and one that will lead you through your business life, I think, and will do you great service. And the third aspect I want to talk to you about is service. I've learned over the years that there is nothing more gratifying than service to your public, to your fellow person, and to your public at large. I have been involved in any number of service organizations. I've served my state, I've served my county, I've served my city, and I don't regret 1 minute of it, because service to others is the basis of business. Now, are there any Rotarians in here? There's some Rotarians. Well, I'm not a Rotarian, but I know that part of one of the songs you sing at your meetings while you're fining everybody is "He profits most who serves the best." Am I anywhere close? Yeah? Am I close? Yeah. And there's so much truth to that, because if you will take an attitude of service, you will be repaid tenfold, I will guarantee you. You cannot possibly imagine the rewards you will receive in so many different ways from service. Now, I want to tell you just briefly a little bit of our history. My wife was born in Germany. She's an immigrant. Her family started with absolute zero. My family were immigrants. I just barely was born in the United States, so I am a U.S. citizen, but I mean, it was close. And neither one of us spoke English as our native language. We both had to learn a new language. And after we got married, we had 98 cents to our name. We paid all our bills. The wedding was over. It wasn't anything fancy. We tried to elope, and then people kept coming and coming and coming. We might as well have rented a hall. But we had 98 cents. But we never, ever lost faith that we were going to make it, because we always were in an attitude of gratitude. And we always knew that we were blessed. And we always knew that by serving others, we would reap tenfold. And so we have, over the years, have become, in our minds, moderately successful people. We have done a number of things. We have built a number of things. We've had a number of businesses. Our son and son-in-law now have taken over the business since my illness, and they're doing a marvelous job. And all of that is not the result of being intelligent or being able to simply make it happen. Sure, hard work helps, but it was because of this relationship that we had with the spiritual side of who we are, I believe, that we were able to make what we did make out of our lives. And that's not in any way to discount hard work. It takes hard work. You know, I'm reminded of the story of this old boy was driving through the Midwest, and he went by this beautiful farm, and just a gorgeous, gorgeous farm, and the farmer was going up and down with his tractor, and the tractor finally came over very close to the fence, and the fellow waved to him, and he stopped, and he came over and he says, "God has truly granted you a beautiful farm." And the farmer looked around and he said, "He certainly has. But you should have seen it when he had it to himself." So there's a partnership that needs to be struck, and a balance that has to be made. And if through hard work, a little bit of luck, a belief in who you are, and a belief in something much bigger than you are, you too can become a tremendous success.
Bill is a Toastmaster extraordinaire, and if you would have seen his 3-page resume of all of his accolades, not only from Toastmasters, but in business at Thrivent, we would have been here a very long time for me to share that with you. Bill, I want to thank you so much for being here. I have a couple of closing things to do. The most important closing thing I have to do is get your evaluation forms. And we have a little raffle prize for your evaluation forms. So if you have completed your evaluation forms, which were in your folder in that green or blue bag donated by one of our partners, the County of San Bernardino, and all of our staff and volunteers, if you can go and collect those as people get those completed, I would be so grateful. And next to the business cards was a wonderful basket of items. So while you guys are getting those items, I want to thank from the bottom of my heart Bob Wolf for committing to being here and for sharing with us out of his heart. I sincerely appreciate that, Bob. I was incredibly inspired. An attitude of gratitude. We share that with our children all the time, and sometimes we forget that. And in these times, as you think about the tremendous accomplishments on Bob's resume and his numerous contributions of service, as he shared with us today, the importance of having an attitude of gratitude, whatever your business looks like, whatever the decision is from the lender, it may not always be positive. There may be a reason that they said no, so have an attitude of gratitude. I really appreciate that. I thank you so very much. And I want to thank Bill Lowenstein, who said, as we were talking about a speaker, "What are you talking about? Call Bob. He'd be a great speaker."